this, loser?
What kind of car is my man Kim Jong-un? What's fat and out of date? It'd be one of those, like, Soviet-era cars that are just knockoffs of old Chryslers. You know, it'd be called, like, a Gaz or a Viz or a Shkaz or a Suka or something like that. Russian, Klingon, what's the difference? Gaz Chaika. Yeah, that's it. What is Ted Cruz? I don't know. What did the Zodiac Killer drive? X fucking D. Actually, no, Ted Cruz would definitely be a Pontiac Aztec, because let's face it, Ted Cruz is probably the least attractive man to ever live. Jake Paul's a Veyron because only normies think it's cool. True, true. I mean, hats off to Volkswagen for making the fastest car in the world so fucking boring. Mike Pence? Mike Pence is definitely an old lifted Bronco with truck balls. It actually doesn't really matter specifically what truck he is, but it has truck balls. That's what that's what Mike Pence is. Oh boy, the Dodge Neon. The only car with an optional foreskin upholstery. If you couldn't afford it, you just got the standard pubic hair upholstery, though. So you know how they have, like, asbestos brake pads? The Neon's brakes are just 100% asbestos. If you have your windows open, if you have to make an emergency stop, you just get mesothelioma if you have the windows open.
Mesothelioma.
Like, you see all these commercials on TV for, like, mesothelioma lawyers and shit like that, trying to win settlements and stuff.
Mesothelioma.
You might be like, oh, that's from, like, asbestos in workplaces from, like, 50 years ago, and smoking and things like that.
Mesothelioma.
No, these are just pedestrians and walkers and shit that were around whenever a Neon hit the brakes and the brakes started flinging, like, asbestos particulate into the air.
Mesothelioma.
Well, actually, yeah, any braking in the Neon would probably give you mesotheliomas. The gaps in the panels are so big, it just kind of lets air in. Tesla. Fuck Tesla. Fuck Elon Musk, alright? Elon Musk is so full of shit. Electric cars are pee-gay, honestly. I know the 8-bit guy drives an electric car, but, I mean, the 8-bit guy is, like, the pastiest cracker ever. See, there is one advantage to the Dodge Neon. Because it is made almost entirely of plastics, it is very light. It's not a good... Don't get me wrong, it doesn't mean it's a good car, and it doesn't mean it's a good tuner. You know, it's the same concept as if you took one of those, you know those little cars they make where the little kid fits inside of them and they've got like the swivel wheels on the front? If you put a V8 in one of those, I'm sure it'd be very fast. You know, doesn't mean you'd want to drive one. I mean, at least it wouldn't give you mesothelioma. That's one thing it would have on the Neon.
Mesothelioma.
What, in your opinion, is the most practical car out there? In my opinion, the most practical car out there would probably be a Cavalier, because basically, when you're driving this thing along, there is the chance that it will just catch fire and fucking kill you, which is what you'd want to do if you're driving a Cavalier anyway. So, it's quite practical. You don't even have to go out of your way to kill yourself.
I finally got one of those
The handling
boxes
sucks.
for the car.
I can imagine.
It's very practical. I can barely hear my kids now.
Of course the fucking Civic wins. Is the Dodge Neon the world's attempt to make an anti-Civic? Yeah, like, if the Civic is, like, Neo from The Matrix, the Neon is Agent Smith. This is basically the universe's way of balancing out the Civic. You know, you gotta have your yin and your yang and shit like that, so the universe needs a car that is equally terrible as the Civic is good in order to, you know, fucking balance the chakras or some fucking horse shit. I don't know. I'm not enough of a hippie to know what that's about. I need more chi. Whatever, you know, the Civic runs off of prana energy, this runs off of farts. Gay farts, too, not just regular farts. Not that I got anything against gays, but, you know, their farts are more likely to have cum in them. There are Great War era tanks that move faster than this fucking thing. I'm gonna fucking gas myself for having to use this car. You and me, boss, to the front. Let's go, let's take this guy.
People who have been diagnosed with mesothelioma have mesothelioma. Jeez. Mesothelioma.
Well, now that there's a turbo in it, little bits of the engine are gonna come out the exhaust. I could have gotten a Hyundai. Is the Hyundai Tiburon even in this game? I know it's in Underground 2. I don't know if it's in this game. It is in the game. Okay. Well, I'm a Neon driver. I can't afford, you know, high-class automobile like a Tiburon. What does LS swapping do to a Neon? It gives the LS mesothelioma. Oh, fuck me. Get fucked. Man, miss me with that bullshit. Yeah, whatever, man. Everyone's got it out for the Neon driver. Why would they ever hate a Dodge Neon? I can't imagine why. A Dodge Neon is the only car that uses semen as lubricant. I mean, you don't need to use semen, but you can. This was actually very brilliant marketing. Knowing their target audience, knowing they would probably spend all the oil money on, like, you know, cigarettes and lottery tickets. They're like, well, what other fluid do poor white Americans who live in trailers have in excess? And then they're like, well, wait a minute. They're always fucking and making babies. And they don't wear a condom ever. Semen. So maybe, if we make our engines semen lubricated, they can use their semen to lubricate the engine when they get in a tight pinch with money, which, let's face it, is going to be often. It makes a lot of sense when you think about it. Okay, so I have Mopar here, and to represent that I've got a powerful American car here, I'm gonna choose some decals that really represent that. Autobahn, Eurolight, Toyo, that one too. Elegant. Sure, that'll do. And you know what? I think I just ran out of sticker money. I mean, those lottery tickets won't buy themselves. Yeah, this car does not handle well. It just wants to end up in the wall. The suspension has a mind of its own. It's like, my driver is a failure, therefore I must be a failure too. I must cleanse the gene pool of his rotten genes and kill him by slamming him into a wall. You know what? My little brother probably weighs more than she does. Yummy. What are you, gay? Wow, that girl with no tits, no ass, or no, you know, just distinguishing features in general sure is yummy. I mean, all the fucking hookers that they paid to go on the front of the magazines in this game are fucking twigs. Let's face it, the only people they could afford for this game were fucking off-the-street hookers who needed money for heroin. If they couldn't afford food, and even if they could, they'd be too busy being high on heroin to even remember that they're hungry. I don't understand why people do heroin. From what I've seen, all heroin does is ruin your life and make you want more heroin. Would you try huffing your own shit? What the fuck do you think I'm going to answer to that question? Would you rather drive a Neon or do heroin? I mean, the two kind of go hand in hand, so kind of a moot question. I guess I would just say just heroin then, because if with the Neon, you're gonna get the heroin and the mesothelioma, whereas with the heroin, you just have heroin to deal with.